All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview where every single week I interview top badasses, top entrepreneurs, and top real estate agents out there dominating their space. And today, guys, we've got another amazing, epic guest here on the podcast. Somebody that I've had the pleasure and honor of really watching her whole entire journey and just watching her explode and blow up and watching her crazy, insane success trajectory that she's been on. So super stoked and honored to have my good friend Nalik on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much. Honored to be here. I really appreciate it. Excited.
Yeah, me too. And I've known you for a long time, before you even got into real estate. And yeah, watching this journey, it's just been unreal because you've done it. Not only have you done it from because there's different ways to define success. And I look at this like meaning like, okay, like you tore up with production volume, like making money, but then you've also built it in a way where you built this amazing lifestyle where you're able to be there with your family. You guys are able to travel. You're able to, like, when we look at like most agents, when I talk to, like, why'd you get into real estate? Well, I want to be able to have freedom of schedule and be able to make more money. Well, usually it's like one of the two. Very rare to get somebody that's done both, and you've been able to do both. So real quick though, before we get into the podcast, your journey, all of this, I know that you've got a special training coming up September 9th. So if anybody's watching this prior to September 9th or listening to this prior to September 9th, I'm going to have a link below to schedule for the event. So real quick, just walk us through what this event is that you're doing.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for the intro. And thanks for the shout out on this event. If you guys are an agent looking to grow and do more production and do it in a manner where you don't have to be paying for leads and things like that, this will be for you. So I'm going to be hopping on live talking about how I pretty much use a Facebook group that I started just a couple years ago to get 3 to 5 consistent closings a month. Again, 0 paid ads. So I'm just going to be walking through in a lot of detail how to start your group, what to be posting in there, how I'm actually getting clients out of that as well. And these, because I use social media very heavy for my business in general, these Facebook leads turn so much quicker from a community group than they do from even my own personal group that I've been building for the last about 9 years. So yeah, if you guys are interested in hopping on and just really seeing a free organic way that I use right now to grow my business and get current consistent clients, I'd love for you to hop on.
Yep. And you guys, so wherever you're watching or listening to this, it'll be below in the description of the show notes. It's a live Zoom call. So you could be anywhere in the world checking this out. And it's September 9th. Again, that information will be below. Okay. So diving on into the actual interview here. I'm always intrigued in our guest journeys. I mean, I know your journey, but everybody else that's watching or listening to this doesn't. So, if we run the clocks, like, how'd you get involved in real estate in the first place?
Yeah, definitely. So with that being said, it kind of kicked off with you, like you said, right at the beginning. I've known you over half my life at this point, which is wild. And you've been a huge part of my success journey. So very much appreciate you and everything that you've done to mentor us and really build this. So from the beginning, I was a stay-at-home mom, actually. So I just stayed at home with our kiddos. My husband worked a corporate job and my kids were getting a little older. I knew I was going to need to start doing something here. Had a lot of nurses in my family, thought maybe that was the path I was going to go, and just kind of started looking at different options. And long story short, ended up reconnecting with you and Amanda and starting on the back end as a transaction coordinator. So I was just kind of getting going, learning all the back end of things, never thought about or even considered being an agent at that point. And then I went from stay-at-home mom to seeing how much the agents on your team were making, and it blew my mind. I could not believe people were making paychecks like that. So from there, I got a license, jumped right in, and with your trainings and guidance and really just following the process that you had provided, it took me from being brand new to being a top producer my first year, rookie of the year, top producing agent every year since then. My husband and I ended up growing a team to just over 50 agents, which then led us to opening our own brokerage. That was a whole other beast of its own, and we could talk about that, a whole other thing as well, and give a lot of information about why that just really wasn't the path for me. As you mentioned, we really had created a business that allowed me to do consistent production and really be there and give high quality service to my clients while still being very much involved in my family, traveling for weeks on end, and just having full control of my schedule. And owning the brokerage was not it. And it definitely took away a lot of that freedom that we had built. So long story short, ended up then re-partnering with you where we are now over at EXP. And it's just been an absolute game changer. Got all my time back, so many more resources, and that's kind of the path and trajectory we are on now. We've now grown our team to just over 150, 160 agents, and we are rocking and rolling over here.
Yeah, and you guys have done that in like 7 months.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been
Resources
crazy.
are fabulous. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's been so awesome watching your growth. So, okay, so quick question for you. So you start off as a transaction coordinator, seeing the opportunities in the real estate side, but I'm curious, do you feel that being that transaction coordinator and kind of being involved in that side of it set a good foundation to help you, go out there and just rock right out of the gate?
I do. Yeah, I think it gave me definitely a good leg up. I think even in just being in your office in general and around you and what you were doing and being in those trainings, even if I wasn't an agent at the time, definitely gave me a very solid foundation. I knew a lot of the back end things that you wish school would teach you, but they teach you none of that stuff. You just have to trial by fire. So a lot of it I did already know. I saw what agents were having to deal with and kind of how some of them were handling things and, different ways other agents were handling it. So I did get a very good overview of kind of what I was walking into. I feel like you never know until you're really the one trying to like lead gen for yourself and really get this thing off the ground and not just be an agent burning and turning, but really growing a business out of it. But those fundamentals I do feel help me kind of come out of the gate swinging, if you will.
All right, so you make this move, you jump in. That first year is so critical. Like we all know the failure rate, 90% of agents drop out in their first 3 years. And you didn't just make it, like you crushed it. Right? You were rookie of the year for a company. Like you just so like what did you do out of the gate, from because like now you know the transactions. That's one thing. Now it's okay, how do I go out there and get a customer? So like what did you start doing that first year or so to allow you to propel your success in the way that you did?
Yeah, definitely. So I had a very good foundation that there's no shiny pill, there's no shiny tool out there, there's nothing that's gonna be this magical thing that's gonna grow my business. I just needed to get out there and start doing the lead gen activities and doing them like my life depended on it. So first things I started doing, and for me personally, I just jumped right into open houses and social. I knew that's gonna be how I wanted to grow things. I knew open houses was not gonna create the freedom that I ultimately wanted, but it gave me more right now business to then build the social aspect of it. So now I have the freedom and the time and full control of my schedule. I can say no to clients that I don't want to facilitate. At the beginning, it was very different. I was working 7 days a week. I was working from morning to night. I was leaving before my kids were waking up and coming home after they were asleep. And that's kind of also what drove me to know like I need to put some things in place here. Like this is not going to work. I'm going to bed at 3 a.m. and waking up at 5:30 or 6 a.m. to keep burning and turning this. And it's just not going to be sustainable. Like I'm missing things that I'm not going to be able to get back with my family. So from there, I started getting more things in place, more systems, taking myself out of certain activities so I could really focus on the money making portion of it, but have that control of my schedule. So at first, it was just a lot of like hitting the ground running, knowing what lead gen source I was going to do, and then just rinsing and repeating and doing it constantly. I know this isn't why you had me on, but it's all straight facts. So I lived in your trainings. That is what I did. That is how I learned this. That is how I learned the processes. That's how I learned the way I needed to lead gen, the frequency I should be doing it in. Thankfully for my husband, he's massive on the tracking portion. So we followed literally everything you said. And it helped us go from being kind of like I said, solo and just kind of barely starting to get things going to really seeing and growing a business that was producing for us when we weren't having to be so much the boots on the ground anymore.
Yeah, I will say that, one of the things I love about working with you and Armando is like you are two of the most coachable human beings I've ever met. And it's like, look, you can have hard work ethic, but if you're not coachable, like it isn't gonna work. Right? So okay, so you're doing open houses. Now you know that that's gonna be a means to an end, but then you're also at the same time focusing on your social strategy, knowing that okay, this is gonna be a longer term play, but eventually I'm gonna buy back my weekends. How long did it take before that started to kind of take up where you're able to get those weekends back?
I was a good 2 years in until my social was revolving enough that I wasn't having to do other lead gen sources. At that point as well, if you do it properly, you're going to have referral business as well that's coming in. So that also helped just supplement and grow my business. So I was able to remove the in the field activities. And like I said, right after that 2 years was when I was like, okay, we got something here. I'm getting consistent clients out of this. I know more so like what to rinse and repeat to keep posting out. And that's too when we kind of really doubled down on social, and I put everything into it. So it's about 6 to 9 months return if you know the way a Facebook lead source works, right? I know you know this very detailed, but you're putting some time in. So I think a lot of it up front as well is knowing what your lead source is and the time frame it's going to take to put into that. Because a lot of this stuff to build a consistent business that's going to make so you're not always in the field, it's a lot of upfront work. You've got to put the time in and not really see a lot coming from it, and have the mental capacity to really stick with it and keep doing it every single day until you got that return in it. But after that roughly, like I said, 2 year mark, that's when it really got good. 5 years is when I started also implementing my showing partners. And that's when 100% I got all my time back and I can dictate everything in my schedule. So took some time, took some build up. It definitely wasn't an overnight thing.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, think about that. It's like, okay, yeah, you had to, live like nobody else for a couple years. So then now you can live like nobody else for the rest of your life. And, most people aren't willing to put in that sacrifice. What, because 2 years, like in a grand scheme of things, it's a blink of an eye, but as you're going through it, it feels like it can be forever. Like what kept you pushing through those couple years? Was it just the faith that you knew that, hey, if we do this and we do this right, like this is a means to an end and we're going to have that dream life? Like, because I mean, what kept you going? Because 2 years isn't like, it's not 2 months, right?
For sure. No, that's an excellent question. So I really had to keep myself in it some days. They're like, now I know what I'm doing is going to bring the return that I want. I know at what rate it's going to come. I know what that's going to provide and do for my family. At first, you're literally just hoping all the things you're doing are going to be what makes your life different. It's going to be like you're chasing things in the right direction. You're doing it the right way. You don't know at first because you haven't seen the returns. You're just doing what, others who have done it have told you to do. So I think having a mentor is massive. Having somebody that can tell you like this is the right path, this is what you should be doing, just don't stop doing it was really big. And some days, I mean, good lord, at the beginning, like I wanted to come home and just like cry in the shower, plenty of days. But I read a lot of books, like You Are a Badass is like kind of like foo-foo as that is, if you will. I loved that book at first. A lot of it was just reading like Ryan Blair. I loved his books because it really lets you know like if you're going to build something worthwhile, it's not going to be easy whatsoever. You're going to have people like throwing wrenches at your shins and you're just going to have to keep it running. But if you can get through that hard spot right there that most people can't make it through, you're going to break through the other side. So something I'll even tell myself to this day when we're making business decisions or if things are hard or stressful, I know that something good is coming because there's no way we're going to have a great, massive, amazing life without some pain, without some heartache, without like the mental angst of knowing like I just got to keep myself in this. So I've reframed it for myself to know like when shit's hard, it's because it's getting good. And so it just drives me a little more. But at first, I had to read and like I said, talk to other mentors and like really know like this is the right path. So just shut up and stick with it.
Yep, love it. So then, and we'll get into, the showing agent model, what you built today. But before you got to that point, like I remember one time, having you on stage on one of our events, and we were asking about how you balance time. Like you've been really good at identifying what's essential, what's important, and what's not important. Like I remember you talking about like your silverware drawer, right? Like what did you do to kind of maximize time to be able to identify the important versus the unimportant as you were growing and building this out?
Definitely. If I can cut out a task that's 2 minutes of my time, I will. I don't care how little it is, whatever it is. If I can find a task, whether it be my personal life or my business life, that I can cut out immediately, I will do so because I know that's going to compound and really give me a lot more time, which it definitely has. So to your point, like before I could afford a house cleaner consistently, and the dishes needed to be put away, I'll literally take all the silverware, just throw it in the drawer, close it, next task. So like these very little minimal things, if you will, but anything that essentially that wasn't a money making activity, I didn't really care to put any focus into it. So all that stuff I got off my plate at first, and I know a lot of the mom agents that I talk to definitely feel this, your house is dirtier than you would like at first when you're getting things off the ground. Like there are just things sometimes that you have to know, like that just is what it is. This is a season. Taking care of these other like house duties aren't going to grow my life. I'm going to have that same dirty house next week. If I take this time to lead gen, though, I can now hire somebody to put them into my business. So at first it was, I mean, straight up, it was just working longer hours. Like that just is what it is. Then I got to a place where we could start hiring some more people and putting people in. So now that we are able to, like we've got full-time assistants, we've got people who like help and book our vacations and things like that. I've got a full-time house cleaner. So at this point, the activities that I know I don't want to take part in, we just pretty much hire somebody on. At first, I was pretty much just like negating them or putting them to the side and just worrying on what was really going to move my business. So if I could cut it out, I would. And like I said, if it was just something that really wasn't an important task, I just knew I'm going to get it off my plate and not even worry about it right now.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask this question just because I want to set the context for like what business looks like today and what the model looks like today, and then we'll kind of unpack it, like how you built it, lead gen strategies, all of that. But when I tell people that, hey man, like I have a good friend, that does 70 deals a year, not counting her team, just herself, working part time, taking more vacations a year than I do in my lifetime. Like people don't necessarily believe it, right? Because it doesn't seem like it's something that's possible, but you pulled it off. So in order to do that, like what does the infrastructure look like today that allows you to do that?
Yeah, definitely. It's so funny. Yeah, sometimes I'll post or talk about like what we're doing and the deals and the freedom so that way we could teach it to other agents. And every now and then people will comment like, there's no way this is real. There's no way this is really what you're doing, but it's so doable. We teach it to other agents. I've been living it. So it's very different than it was when we first started. So when we first started, we were still very good about being intentional in our time and really saying no to a lot. A lot of it is just saying no to the right things and not agreeing and being out at every dinner and every lunch and every, thing that's really taking up your time. But I used to, like when we would go on vacations, our vacations were based around service that I would have or the appointments that we would have, things like that. So we did have to like work around it at first, if you will. It's something we kind of grew into as we hired more people into our business. As for right now, we can take off for as long as we would like. And if I don't have service, I don't stress anymore, which is something that's really nice. It wasn't always that way. But that's because of the back end infrastructure that we put into place. So we've got, of course, transaction coordinators, all those typical things that you have as you're kind of starting and growing your business. We have those in place. So my TC, love her. She's my right hand, definitely somebody I couldn't operate out, without. I've got a full-time assistant as well. So anything that comes into my email, additional messages, following up with my leads and my CRM and things like that, all of that is things that I have somebody else facilitate. It's not like a right now money making. It has to get done to move the needle forward, but I've got somebody else in place that handles all of those back end things, essentially things that are outside of what a TC would be doing. I then have another party that handles all of those. From there, I've got full-time showing agents. So I'll keep 2 part-time, 2 full-time, and that's more than enough to facilitate the deals that I have and the deals that I do yearly. And they handle all of my boots on the ground activities. So that's where it really changed the game for me, because you can have a TC, you can have somebody helping with your emails and doing all those other things you need to do. But unless you can find a way to facilitate boots on the ground activities and showings and closings and things like that, I would have to be present or figure something out. So the showing partner is probably the biggest aspect to my business on how I can be anywhere, anytime. And they've grown into like pretty much another right hand for me. So anything that needs to be done in the field whatsoever, you could tailor this to whatever your business is like. But if a client needs to go back and do measurements, if I need a property swept before I have a showing there, of course, when we have people that want to go out and view properties, they do all of our new build tours. So they handle all of those activities for us. And really, with those parties in play, that's it. That's everything we need to operate from here. When I was facilitating my own brokerage, very different, right? You have to have accounting and people and attorneys, all these different layers, other brokers to make sure your agents are getting taken care of. Since we made a switch and I'm no longer running our own brokerage, that cleared up all of those. So literally just those 3 parties, from the TC to an assistant to handle kind of odds and ends, to my showing partner, that's it. And I try to keep as least amount of people as possible. Like I don't want to be responsible for them. I'm not trying to have all these heads to, have to worry about. I want it to be as easy and streamlined as possible. And with the amount of volume that I do, I don't find that I need anybody else. So those are my really three key players in everything.
So essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, like your role is it, okay, you're going to do the consultation, buyer consultation listing presentation. And I know that you do those via Zoom. Then you step back in for contract negotiation, but you pretty much have leveraged out all other aspects of whatever that process may be that we would have to go do.
Exactly. So on my side of things, yes. So I of course lead gen, and then I meet with the clients virtually. I do all of my consultations virtually, and that's also what allows us to be anywhere, anytime. I've got a full on process for that, and something that I go over with the clients. It's very streamlined, very specific. It leads into getting the buyer broker signed, so it's all very just check, 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 leading through the process. And then once I meet with my clients via Zoom, in that presentation, I have a slide in there that just notes we're a full service team. I'm not a one man show. And I go over here's who's also going to be a part of this transaction, helping you throughout to make sure that we're all hands on deck for you throughout this entire process. And then I intro the people from there, more so my showing partner. So it's very smooth. My clients don't show up to a property and then it's something different. And then once they're out, they know they're going to write an offer, all that. Yes, I typically will step back in for negotiations. And then outside of that, everything just runs pretty smoothly. I'm very much about my clients and their process and them feeling very well taken care of and like they're not being passed off. So it's a very specific way to do it. But I've definitely found in running it this way, like this is what people want. This is what people look for. And there are NAR stats to back all of this that people don't want a specific agent. They don't feel all, cozy because you're the one opening the doors for them. They want a specific process and they want to know they're getting taken care of. And that's what our process allows, with me only having to do the consultations and then negotiations essentially.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Clearwater Beach and we're all at the beach and you were just like, oh, hold on, guys, pull out your laptop out of your backpack, had to write an offer real quick. And then we went all back to the beach. And I remember thinking to myself at that time, like, man, I built my team wrong. Because I built it, we didn't know what we didn't know at the time. I just modeled after what we knew existed. But it was like, I always felt like a prisoner to my location, to my office, so it was like every time I had vacations, it was just more of a headache than it was fun, right? So okay, so that's what it looks like today. Now, I think you said, was it 5 years or 5 years in that you decided to launch this model? You didn't start here. So let's just talk about like maybe your first showing agent. Like what did that look like? How did you know you were ready to hire them?
Yeah, so the showing agent part too, I didn't even know it would turn into what it was, or that I would be doing this full time and fully remove myself from that showing or any boots to the ground activities. So we've always been, even from the beginning, we definitely always made our family time and we'd be out on vacations. So when I would go on vacations, we would still have consistent leads working. So I would just partner with one of the agents on the team, have them go out, do some showings, you'd pay them per that. And it would kind of be a one-off process here and there. After we started traveling a little bit more and I started meeting these agents more, and then I started seeing that clients didn't have any aversion to it not being me. Because I say that now, like it doesn't have to be you. It's a process. People don't care that it's you. I did not feel that way at the beginning. That's stuff I had to find out and learn. At first, because we're very referral based as well, I was like, this is going to put my business down the drain. Nobody's going to refer me. We're going to get like one and done clients. And that's not at all how we wanted to operate. So as I started using, just like I said, one-off showing agents more and seeing like my clients are having a good time with these other agents as well, or they're not having any questions about why it's not me out there. I was like, I think we got something here. I think I can start using these agents 100% full time, even when I'm in town. And that's just going to make things so much more structured. So I had one agent who had been doing a lot of the showings for me most consistently when I was out of town. So I just had a conversation with her and I was like, hey, do you have interest in making this more of a consistent position that you're in? Here's what the hours would look like. Here's my expectations on it. Here's what we're willing to pay you on it. And it saves me so much more money, honestly, than I would if I was doing like a split. Yes, there's something out of a deal. Because if you do it to where you like partner with an agent. You're either giving them as much as a referral fee or you're giving them 50% in a lot of cases, and your income is down half, and then you're having to supplement those deals. It puts you kind of in this hamster wheel where, yeah, maybe you're not working so much on the showings, but now you're working more on trying to bring clients in to supplement things. So doing it on hourly position, I'll spend like $300 to $500 on a file. So it is insane. It's incredibly worth it. So that's how we kind of, like I said, stumbled into it. I didn't really have a lot of processes or things at first. And then as we started working with this agent more full time, like hearing certain questions she would have or certain things that I'm like, I don't want to have to re-go over this again or answer this question again. I'm going to put a process in place. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to put a document here so they have a go-to, and just really built the process as I was in it.
Yep. Yep. Love it. Yeah. And yeah, you start thinking about that. It's like, okay, if the average commission's 15 grand, if traditional team would be 7,500, 7,500. So you're keeping an extra, 7 grand at a minimum in your pocket.
And that's exactly what it is too. And some of these are seven-figure deals, right? So I mean, you could save tens of thousands of dollars running on an hourly system. And I will say too, because I'm very much about my people and making sure everybody feels good in their position. I want my showing partner just as excited to show up and be there and happy to work with this client and not feel like they're like making crumbs on the deal, right? So I say that because I'm super transparent. We pay them between 20 and 25 an hour out here in Arizona. Those agents will message me like, hey, thank you so much. I was able to go on a vacation with my kiddo. We've never been able to do that before. It does give them more structure in the income, because there's agents that like to do the boots on the ground. They like to go schmooze people and go have fun and, do those at the property appointments. And they don't want to handle the negotiations and kind of sometimes all the shit that comes with the deals. Well, perfect. It's a perfect pair. You can go schmooze the clients, have all the fun, and then I'll be the one facilitating it on the back end from here. So yeah, they've been definitely a game changer in kind of the way we structure things. But honestly, I fell into it because it started working for us and I saw we had something there.
Now, are there any like, I don't know, green flags, red flags that you look for or make sure to avoid when you're interviewing these showing agents to make sure that they're that right personality type for this role?
Oh yeah. So I am definitely very particular with who is out with my clients, and I'll ask them some very specific questions. I've got a hiring form now that really just outlines what we're looking for, what their expectations are. But of course, I comb through their social media. I want to see what that looks like, if they're, active and doing things that, like if they're at the gym or if they're hiking or if they're with their family, right? If they're on there always complaining about something or like posting a bunch of weird memes and stuff like that, right? Not my people. I hop on a phone call with them, and I don't take a lot, as much as I want to make sure I really trust these people out with my clients. I don't sit here for like a 30-minute to an hour in-person interview making sure they're going to be the right fit. I will have a phone call with them, and in a handful of questions, you can immediately tell if it's somebody you're going to want to work with or not. Because if I'm asking them like, hey, how are you? How's your day been? How's everything going? If they're like, yep, super awesome, woke up, went to the gym this morning, met with a client, and they're like just ready to go and excited, awesome, love it. If they start off with like, oh God, I woke up late and I got a flat tire, immediately no, like I've got another minute and I'm hanging up in this conversation. So those quick little things I definitely feel are a teller. And then only because I very much, again, care about my clients and the presentation to them, I ask what kind of vehicle they drive. I make sure that when they're showing up, like, how do you show up to a property? And I mean physically in what you are wearing. And are you there early? Are the lights on? Like, are all those little details that are very easy done? Because they do matter. The details absolutely matter. So they're really easy, and any human can like makes those things happen. Like, I'm not asking you to do all these hard tasks. It's just showing up early and in a proper manner. But if we go over that information and they kind of check all the boxes and I get like a good feel from them, they seem like excited and positive, then I'm with it. I'll run with them. I'll give them opportunity. And I will say there's only been one in the last about 5 years that after I started working with them, I was like, I'm not that into this guy anymore. Like he was a little too dry, or I just like there was something weird and off. You could always tell. So that guy I let go pretty quickly. Outside of that, I've had one of my showing partners for the full 5 years. So some of them will really stick with you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then, okay, you had this fear initially, and I know that most when I have a conversation about this model, they have the same fear, which is, people want to work with me. They expect me, like you said, oh, my referral business is going to go to, crap. But I remember this was a few months ago. You're showing me all these testimonials, giving you 5-star testimony. You're like, hey, I never even met this person. Never met this person. Yeah, right. But they're going out there ranting and raving about you, your experience, so for somebody that is maybe has that fear, what would you say to that? And then I want to unpack, like, how do you make sure it's a great experience for them?
Definitely. So I have clients that I have worked with before and had been out with before, had built really good relationships with, that I still will send my showing partner out with as well. 7-figure clients, I will send my showing partners out with. So it doesn't matter the clientele, if you will, or like I said, if it's a repeat or even a referral client, I use my showing partners for everything. And in following a systematic process, that is absolutely what people care about. So I feel it definitely starts up front in the consultation and the information that you provide to your clients. And what I'm doing is telling them exactly what they can expect from me and my team and what we're going to do to help them. And then I over deliver that throughout the entire process. So my clients have so much communication. They know exactly what's going on. They know what's coming next. I've created additional PDF guides that are just like, hey, you're under contract. Here's exactly what to expect from here. And it's just a reiteration of what's in the buyer consultation. But I've made so every little step is very easy to follow and it's very clear. And my clients are never wondering, like, who's doing what are we supposed to be doing, when's somebody going to reach out to me. It's a very, very clear process. And that is the key. That's 100% what people care about. And the stats are that somebody would even use a brand new agent over a repeat agent if they thought the process would be more streamlined with this other agent they've never even used. So that's really the key of what it is. So my showing agents, I've got specific trainings for them. So when they come on, they watch a video, they go through some information, and I tell them like how to show up for my clients, how to communicate. This is your specific role, and this is what you're going to go with the clients, and this is my role, and this is what I'm going to go over. So I feel like we're all very clear in our piece to the puzzle and what we're doing, and that it all just fits together, and we just over deliver for the client. So at first, I was so worried. I was like, these people are going to go out. They're going to be wondering, like, they're going to see me on vacation and be like, oh, she's too cool. She's too busy to be here. She sent me out with her assistant, right? So a lot of it is also like, this is my partner. This is my right hand. You've got both of us. I'll be here to help you throughout this entire process as well. And then again, over delivering that, because people will feel passed off, or I feel like if I wasn't responsive or making sure that they were properly being led through things, and then they see me out on a beach, like nobody's going to refer that, right? So they have to definitely feel very well taken care of throughout. But I feel with starting in that consultation and then making sure everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing, it just flows through very streamlined to the point, as you said, I literally will get nothing but 5-star reviews of people mentioning my name. And then they'll talk about the team too, like Nalika and team, you guys have been so amazing, you XYZ, right? And we just really over deliver in the process. And me being there to open the door for them has zero effect on how good their experience is. So I just feel like it's all of us knowing what we should be doing and then executing on that. And then last thing I'll say here is I do feel like having like a really good, excited showing agent that shows up and just like really delivers that for your client, it does make a difference. If they're kind of like ho hum or they're just like standing by the door feeling like they're waiting for your clients to finish, it's a different experience. It is. So I feel like everybody has to be really doing their part to make sure the clients are feeling good. But as long as you dictate that and you tell people what you're going to expect and you have a process for it, they'll very easily follow it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it also, it's not like you're passing them off, but you're selling the value as to why this is important, how it's going to create a better experience for them. So they don't, feel like it's not a negative pass off. It's for their benefit. That's a positive pass off. But then from there, you're in constant communication with the showing agents. So it's not like you're just, okay, peace out. Let me know when you're ready.
Exactly. So, and I have updated and removed myself from some of that over time, meaning at first, when So the agents, especially because I had like some control issues at first, releasing your clients and feeling like they're gonna get what you gave them. And it's so funny because we're all just following a product. I'm not special or doing anything out, out of this world for them. I'm just doing what I'm telling them I'm going to do and following a process. So at first I was very worried again that we were gonna, kind of be losing out on things. But with the showing partners being able to kind of jump in as well and really be a part of it, I've stepped out of some of this. So at first, I wouldn't even let my showing partner like group text with the client. Like I would control the showings. I would let everybody know when the showings were going to happen. And I kind of like gate kept some of that communication. Well, when you're trying to be on a zip line and you don't have service and you don't want to miss your client, getting to their property, it just doesn't work. Like it was too many sticking points. So I thought, okay, well, we're going to group text. I'm going to tell the agent. They're going to now send the clients a message. Here's what they're going to say on a group thread. And then we're all just going to, kind of go together. And a showing partner is going to be the one communicating fully about the showings and what to do, where to be, the whole outline of it. And then I could just sit back and get updates. Total game changer. Everybody prefers it 100%. The client gets their information quicker. The showing agent doesn't have to go back and forth. So there are some things that I've removed myself from just in keeping it streamlined, but I'm definitely in a lot of communication with my clients. I lead it in a sense, and this is the question I get from agents a lot of like, how do you make sure that your client now isn't just going to go to your showing agent when they need stuff, or when they have a referral, how come they're just not going to go to the person they went out with that they saw more? It's because I lead the process and I tell them, this is what I'm doing for you, this is what I'm here for, this is what the showing partner is doing, this is what they're going to do for you. So they know like I'm the one leading it, I'm the one doing the negotiations, I'm the one that's going to like get you the house and make this happen for you. And that definitely keeps them like in your wheelhouse, if you will. They know you're the source, right? You're the one, and then this is your team that you've provided. So that's also incredibly helpful in doing so. But in leading the process that way, I pretty much, outside of the virtual consultation and a couple like text messages and phone calls, I pretty much leave everything to the showing agents at this point.
Yeah. And what I love about this, for my whole 20 years or more than 20 years now, being in the industry, it's always been, you want to become a top producing agent, you gotta, you gotta focus on listings. And look, there was a point in time where I got that and understood that because okay, I can have 30 listings, but I can't manage 30 buyers. But with you, how you've structured this, like you can manage every bit as much, if not more buyers than you can sellers with this model. And the thing that I love about that is buyers are typically quicker and easier to obtain. Like the cost per acquisition is lower on a buyer usually than a seller. But then from there, the vast majority of repeat referral business comes from the buy side. So now you're
Yeah.
able to capitalize on both of it and just leverage your time massively.
Yeah, no, I love that point. So I know a lot of like list to last and all those things, which I love and I get, and I think I totally understand, and that's a successful business model as well. During COVID, listings were like the best time of anyone's life, so I completely get it. But yeah, I've always loved a buyer and been a little bit different from other agents in that sense because I don't want one product that I'm stuck to and I'm like trying to find the one person who's gonna want this one product. I want to take the one person and you don't want this product, that's fine. So then I'm going to show you this product, and I'm going to show you this one, I'm going to show you this one until you get the one that you want. It just moves a lot quicker. So I feel like they're quicker, honestly, deal wise than even listings, especially in this current market. As you mentioned, in facilitating the showing partners, it doesn't matter. I could have 5 buyers. That doesn't constantly. They're all daily. So they can be out very simultaneously, consistently. I'm not burning myself out, but we're able to do a higher volume. And that's honestly been what I did say one of the like biggest game changers is because I can do more business with less time. And that is where things got really good.
Yeah. So then the other thing that's allowed you to create what you've created, meaning, okay, 70 plus deals a year, working part-time, traveling the world while you're doing all of this, is also the way that you built your business from a lead gen standpoint. It's like you're not having to pound the phones 3 hours a day. Now you were for those first couple of years doing open houses, but that was a means to an end because of how you position this with past client repeat referral business and social media. So, I mean, how many years has it been since you've had to like pound the phones?
Oh gosh, I don't know, like 7, 8.
So these
Been
are
a
people
while.
coming to you, right? They're like, "Hey, Nalika, we want to work with you." Yeah, right.
Definitely. Yeah, and I
Okay, so
think that
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that's what makes it easier too in the process because they're coming to us like knowing who we are a lot of the time. So they will follow the process. They're happy to do it.
Yeah, and what would you say about half your business is repeat referral, but the other half is still new clients?
Exactly. So half of our business, repeat referral. The other half is social. We get definitely get business from Sphere. Obviously, you can kind of like place that in one bucket or the other. But social is where all of my new organic business comes from.
Okay. So then, because if we still look at that, like even if it's half, so 35 units a year, but these again are still people that are reaching out to you. Hey, I've been following you on social media. We were looking at buying or selling a house. Like it's, just the ideal way of like, dude, inbound. Like you don't see Apple having a cold call team. Yeah, right. Like, I always say pros attract, amateurs chase. So you built this like an attraction-based business. So if we start unpacking that, like what do you do on social? I mean, it's so noisy. There's so many people telling us what to do. Obviously, you've proven it your way. Like, what have you done with social? Because these aren't paid ads either, right? We're talking organic social media, developing relationships, people, strangers still to you that are reaching, you're not a stranger to them, but they're reaching out to you, they want to buy or sell. So kind of walk us like, what do you do with social media?
Yeah, definitely. So even that is, it really is like all the same strategies that which I'll get into right now that people have heard that even myself, you're like, is that really what it is? Like there has to be another thing that these people are really doing to get these deals online. But it really is the most basic of things. It's just doing it consistently. So for the last 9 years, and I had my Facebook hacked 5 years in, devastated. I tried to pay a hacker to hack back in. I wanted that thing back so bad, could not get back in, had to start right over and build it back up, use the same fundamentals, built it right back up. So I know these things work, and it's just a couple things. Of course, all the basic stuff like knowing who you're speaking to, niching down, speaking to the proper person, which with all the AI platforms at this point, you could get so incredibly specific on, and you don't even have to put a lot of thought into it. But for me, at first, I knew I was going to focus on first time buyers, and which has switched now over time. I definitely try to do move up and more luxury. But first time buyers, there is so much information that you can provide to them, and a lot of things that you can put out that they don't know that they're going to watch and find value in. So, a lot of what I put out, just like everyone talks about, value, educational things, like what do they need to know that they could use more information on that's going to make them feel like you're the go to, like they can trust you walking them through this process. So again, a lot of it is just educating people and then posting properties. Obviously, that's what people want to see. Posting community and things about the neighborhoods. My framework that I try to stay in is like, what can people look at my page for that they can't just go to Zillow for? So if you're, posting about to families, if you will, okay, well, what schools are in the area? What fun things and community things are there to do? So that as an overall, not just beating them down with real estate info, but giving value and then showing them things that they would want to see on top of putting out personal information. So things that I'm doing, things with my family, like woes in the business, wins in the business. You want to create that emotional connection to them. And that's really where people will remember you. So even if they don't need something right now for real estate, when they hear somebody or when they do need something, you're going to cue in their mind. So that's why I just try to always be present on there so they know, like, oh, I need something, boom. I know this person's consistent. They're always posting online about it. And at first, we were doing 3 to 4 posts real estate based a day. I should say two real estate, one personal, and then just another one kind of in the mix, depending on honestly just what fit better in the day. At this point, do only do one post a day, which honestly I gotta ramp back up for sure. I think the more you post, I definitely do see you get more out of it. I just kind of fell into a sweet spot. I was just doing the one for the time being. But that's all I do at this point. And then I put out a story, posting a poll in your stories saying something to the, so we have a lot of new builds out here. People aren't buying because of interest rates, so getting a new build kind of helps I could meet that gap, if you will, because they have all those deals going on. So I'll put a poll out. If you could buy a home right now with an interest rate 5% and under, would you? Anybody who says yes, I reach out to. So I'm really trying to find ways to find, like, get a lead on there without just like posting and letting it scroll by. I'm very proactive on there. So I'm trying to put out things that are going to make people reach out to me. And then all very basic, like when they have a promotion, when they have a birthday, when they have an anniversary, all those things that we've all heard forever that seem too easy to actually work, they 1,000% work. And I'm very heavy in that as well. I'll send follow-up text messages and things to people. As for the past client portion, that's where I think social is an absolute killer as well, because they stay familiarized with you, they remember you, you can keep in touch easier. You're not always following up like, hey, do you have any real estate needs, or how's your house? It's, hey, I saw your kiddo starts kindergarten, hope everything goes well. Like those personal things, I feel really help grow it, on top of making sure they know like you're an authority figure. Like she's always doing something real estate wise. If I need something, she's my go-to, but also making them feel connected to you so they remember.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed about your page is, yeah, I mean, and when I say page, like all your different social media profiles, platforms that you're on, it's like you're not necessarily selling. Like you're not like, hey, you want to buy or sell real estate, call me. Or just listed or sold in 2 days above list price. I mean, you're showcasing, planting that seed that, hey, I'm in real estate, but they're like engaging good videos with just that planting that seed. Is that intentional, or do you find that type of content to fit better versus like just a hard in your face kind of annoying sales style posts?
Yeah, no, super intentional. And the story aspect of like, here's what I did for my clients, and here's a win that they have, and here's how quickly I sold this. I think definitely like people will see that and speak to that and know like you're an authority figure, right? So I see some value in those, if you will. But I've always been so organically based, and everybody that I've learned from is always taught like you lead with value. It's not how cool you are, what you're doing, the win you got for your client, but what are you doing to actually help people, and what's of value to your particular clientele. So that's more so what I try to speak to, is like what's going to help somebody, what's going to be interesting to them, not so much about like myself, because in doing those posts you automatically come off as an authority figure. If they know you're putting out this type of content, if you're providing value to them, if you're showing them things they want to see, they're going to automatically associate that with like, oh shit, she knows what she's doing, like I can trust her. And that's the whole point to it.
Yeah. All right. So you got your regular social that you're posting on, but then you've got the group or the groups. And just a quick reminder, if you're watching this before September 9th, there's going to be a link below where, Nalika's doing a full in-depth, I don't know how long, hour, 2 hour workshop on this. So I know we don't have time to go as in depth, as you're going to go on that training. So, but there's going to be a lot that are watching this necessarily after the fact. So, how do you differentiate that? Like, kind of walk us through, with what you can with the time that we have on the Facebook group.
Yeah, so I've got my personal page, which has always been my main source, the main one that I use. I didn't even do any type of social platforms personally before I got into real estate. So it was straight up, I just got in, followed your stuff, followed the process, and built it up from there. And then I've heard about community groups, other people doing Facebook groups, things like that. Never really like dived in or, looked too much into it. But then a couple of years ago, we moved to a new city, and I saw there really wasn't a group out here. I will say that does not matter. There can be 10 groups in your area. I've seen other ones in my area since I created mine. They just weren't as well known. So it doesn't matter if anybody else is doing anything. Just definitely, stick to what you want to do. And there's a way to differentiate your group. But I ended up creating a community group just for my city, and just kind of going over like things to do, highlighting, new businesses and things. I live in kind of a smaller city. We're close to a lot of stuff, but it's not a massive city with all kinds of things always going on. And I still have plenty enough to post in there to get business out of it. But this group, it took me, so I'm just over 10,000 members as of like 2 weeks ago. It took me to getting to about 3,000 members until I really started getting consistent business out of it. But initially, like I just posted a personal post like, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's my family, here's what I'm looking to do in this group. And I made it very community based. One, I 1,000% made that group because I'm a real estate agent and I want everybody in this area to know who I am. That's not at all how I'm gonna come off or present in the group, right? The group is for people in the community to be able to share if they have a small business that they want to put out there, if they're looking for something. And then I did note, and you're also going to see homes for sale and additional property information, new builds, kind of, different little things that are out here. So it wasn't a surprise to people joining the group that they were going to see some things like that. But I started it off very organic, very much just community, things to do, businesses, and just kind of posted those types of things. From there, I do property posts. So they're so basic. It's literally the same property post we've all seen a million times. It has some of the property information, never the price, never the address. Those are my two most asked questions. But I just put a couple photos of the property and we post it. And I'm an agent, that's what the group is for. So I started putting those types of posts out there just once a week, not too often, not to oversaturate it. I probably have a good like 5 to 10 organic posts of people just doing their own thing in there. So stuff can get buried pretty quick, but about once a week. And that's when I realized that about 3,000 members and that one property post a week that I was starting to get reach outs and comments and like genuine right now leads. So I was like, I got to double down and start using this group a little bit differently. So I got more strategic in there. We put those posts out twice a week now, which is we doubled it, right? Nothing too crazy. I've added some of my information. So like right off the bat, when you jump in this group now, like you can see me, you can see that I'm a realtor, you can see that I'm like pretty much all about the community based. That's the point of it. But in doing those two property posts and just posting community things in the area, which I can get a little more into that if you want me to talk about like where I'm even finding those. But in just a couple organic posts a week, things to do, and then two property posts a week, I get 3 to 5 deals out of this group a month, very consistently, all free. It is something I've systematized a lot more. Sometimes I'll post a property and it'll get a couple hundred comments on it. So I use, different systems so that way we can lead capture them properly, which I'm very happy to go into if you would like. But outside of that, we're just capturing these leads and I'm just reaching out as a typical lead that you would from a social media platform. However, these leads are way quicker. Some of them so I had a post. So I say some of these get hundreds of comments. I've had one, this is maybe like 3 weeks ago. I think it got like 7 comments on it. One of those parties, because I reach out to everybody, I've got a system for that too. My assistant actually has a template where they go into the messages and every X days they have a certain message that they send to follow up. So I've really gotten a lot more systematic on trying to pull what I can out of there. But those posts alone are truly what's bringing me that, like I said, the 3 to 5 consistently without a ton of work. And since I've systematized it, they're just coming to me. My point to that was that out of those 7 comments, I had a gentleman out in the next 48 hours with a signed buyer broker out viewing properties ready to write offers. I've closed many clients out of this platform, and it moves way quicker than my personal page, which I've spent years more building up. For whatever reason, the community one, it's just so much more organic, and the Facebook platform itself pushes your page out to a bunch of random people to invite them to your group. So it's just a really good way to have it kind of working for you to get in front of way more people that are in your area. So it's been definitely a game changer, honestly.
Okay, so then I mean, to get to 3,000, that was kind of the game changer. And I know, like you just mentioned, okay, you get to a certain size, or maybe not, but like, Facebook is pushing that out. But I believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you guys were like also like doing mailers and doing different things to start building it up.
Yes. Okay. So when it comes to actually getting people in the group, especially when it's smaller, so like going to Eventbrite and finding things to do in your area and posting them, going to Facebook and literally typing in events near me and posting them in the group, they do bring people into your group 100%. It's things to do in the area, that stuff's getting pushed out to them. More organic wise to make sure that we were growing it. I had our title company for free create a flyer that had the name of my group. It told people what they were going to see in there, which were things that are appealing to them, things that if you lived in a community, you would want to definitely see. And then I had a little QR code. So very easy to do. You scan it, you join the group, and we'll take those and put them all around the neighborhood. For about every 100 flyers, I'll get between 3 and 4 members. So that's a good way that we knew, like, and you got to put out a lot, right? But super worth it. I've got teenagers, so they do that for us anyways. So that was a really good organic way that definitely grew it. Local businesses in the area, I'll go and I'll leave my flyers there. I'll tell them you can post in here, you can put deals, all kinds of stuff. It also makes it a lot easier to have conversations with other locals or business owners because I'm not just a realtor trying to talk about real estate. I'm somebody in the community with something of value to offer them, even when I had very little members in the group. So it does make it easier to have those conversations. And then I'll host events as well. So this is something you can kind of start doing a little further in, just depending on kind of where you are or, capabilities, time, things like that. But something I definitely recommend is getting in front of these people. That's also super important. So I've got a friend who's a yoga instructor. So for 150 bucks, I can invite anybody that I want. And we'll do a free yoga in the park near my home. So again, they're locals, they're people that are into the same things that I'm into. They've been seeing me online, and now I'm just solidifying that in person. I literally, from the last yoga event I did, had a lady come up and say, "Hey, I know you're always posting in the group as well. I want to get my home listed. My son's about to go off to college." So those things definitely work and will get you business out of it as well. Different events, like I'll reach out to like the ladies in the group and host a board and brush where you go and like paint a little something. So I'm not paying for everybody either. Like I pay for myself, and all I'm doing is organizing it. And it's so crazy because everybody is so thankful that you organize. Like they'll come up to you and they're like, "Thank you so much for putting this together," which I posted on Facebook and I called a company and I booked a time. Like it doesn't get any easier. But now I'm at these events, and rather than having to like kind of mingle or like get in there and intro myself, I'm hosting that baby. I'm like, "Hey you guys, I'm Malika. I run the Welcome to Waddell group. Thank you so much for being here." And I'm immediately a presence that they all know. So it's a very good way to get in front of more people and then grow that organically as well. And make sure that when they need something, they're thinking of you.
Yep, love it. So then, okay, so I do want to get into some different ways that you've systematized and kind of automated this because I got to imagine as big as it's getting, like if you don't have those systems in place, like it would just get to a point where it's unmanageable, you know. But before I do that, okay, sure that this was a learning curve. I've never done a Facebook group. This is why I love masterminding with, other top producers like yourself because we all get to learn from each other. So this is something new to me that I have no experience on. So I got to imagine though that there was some learning lessons along the way. Like, okay, if you were to tell people, like we're talking about like what to do, but if there's a couple things of like, hey guys, I had to learn the hard way, like to make sure to not do this, like what would some of those like, learn from my mistake things be?
Definitely. So it does for the most part. It runs itself, which is really nice. I have a VA that facilitates it, which we'll get into a little more when we talk about some of these systems. But he is in there scrubbing things. So if there's any posts that shouldn't be in there, repeat things, then we can kind of remove them out. But a couple things. So I would get continual like scam posts in my group for certain things. Like it's so random, but like duct cleaning scams are really big out here. So you can put in keywords to your group. So that way, if somebody has a certain verbiage or certain words in their post, it won't even let it into your group. So we end up having to go back a little bit, systematize those things so they weren't taking up a lot of our time. At first, it was open to anybody, like you can just come in and join. And then you'll start having people like kind of talking shit here and there about the area or whatever it may be. And I want the group to be very transparent, very real. I'm not trying to like censor people's real thoughts or feelings. I want people to have a true feel of it. But if you're just in there with like your negative mindset, right, immediately get in the boot. So I now have it set up to where it's intro questions, just kind of like every other basic Facebook group. At first, because I didn't know what this was going to turn into, and it was just kind of like something I was doing on the side, I wanted to give myself as least amount of to-dos with this group as possible. So there were some of the fundamentals that I didn't put into place, like creating a form up front that you have to answer questions in order to join that group. So that's been really big as well. And then in just making sure that you are not violating any of the standards for Facebook, they very much care about that and they will remove your group immediately. So I've gotten some like red flag notices in my group before over time that I didn't even know were going to be a thing. So know what type of posts are allowed. For example, when people are selling like litters of puppies, that stuff will get flagged a lot. So you want to know what's allowed in your group to make sure that you're not letting in additional posts that are going to hurt it. Unless you're with our group, if you're a realtor in there posting, immediately will get deleted, which sometimes pisses people off a little bit, but join us and you can get up in there. So with that being said, those are some of the initial things that I wish I would have put into place because it would have saved me time and I didn't have to go back and do that. But outside of kind of monitoring things a little bit better, it runs itself because the community does jump in there and kind of post their different services or things that they're looking for. I'm not having to be the main one always in there, and it kind of just takes on a little life of its own.
Yep, love it, love it. So then, okay, so then with the systems, like you mentioned a form, And I mean, are you doing like when you're posting your properties in there, are you doing like a mini chat to like a jot form kind of a thing, or like walk us through that? How you're able to, because like, look, you get all these 100 comments like that, that's 100 potential leads.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where it gets good. But yeah, I definitely had to put some things into place. So why I ended up putting a lot of these things into place is because I was straight up just missing out on leads. There was too much coming in for what I anticipated that I was like, ah, shit, I gotta get in here. Because also, we all know that that first check-in, like if you're just reaching out once on that first post, like you almost might as well not even waste your time, right? Some of them are gonna turn from that first message, but most of this is also follow up. Like I want to get them into my system. I want to follow up with them. So I want to have those consistent leads for the future as well. So a lot of these are definitely quicker. But even if they're 3 months, like to me, that's a quick time frame. But again, you're having to follow up with these people and check in with them. Sometimes you respond to them and then I'll go back and look and they've seen it, which I love Facebook because you can actually see when they looked at it, right? But then I can see, okay, they've seen it, they haven't sent anything back yet. Let me send them another follow up from here. I'm really big on voice messages. A lot of, even us as agents, the messages we get, even sometimes the real ones, look like automated messages that people are just sending and going out. Like there's no personal touch to it. So I follow up even with voice messages like, hey, I'm Malika. I run the Waddell group. I see you had commented on this property. I wasn't sure if you had a chance to take a look at it just yet. So like I put a little more personality to it as well to kind of move some of these things forward. But as for the systems and things that I initially had to do, and when it comes to like ManyChat and things like that, and somebody, if you know different on here, comment and let me know. But as far as I know, those won't work. And I've had my VA look every which way. Facebook operates different than Instagram in the sense that it doesn't just give those auto responses, especially in groups. A lot of it has to be you doing it. And they'll also limit you to 50 responses a day, which is brutal. So that's not always the case. I don't know why some posts it does and some posts it doesn't. So we just hit it till it tells us different. But essentially, I have my VA now to where I've given him very specific parameters to actually go into the MLS and pull a property. So I didn't even, when those properties post and get put in our group, I don't even know what they are before they go in there anymore. I've given him again very specific instruction of how to look in the MLS for the types of properties that I would want him to post. I have a specific template that he follows, so it's very black and white. He just updates a few things to that particular property, and then he posts it in my community group. Once people start commenting, which the majority of the comments, I'm talking 90+%, are price and location. Price, more info. That's really the only things that people will say. So I've got one response that's templated out that he then sends to everybody. So it doesn't matter what they comment, just like a ManyChat, he's just having to do it for me on the back end. He'll send one response to them, which pretty much just lets them know, like, hey, thank you for reaching out. You're going to receive a link in your messages to view all the property information. That's our first step. So they get that message, so they know they're going to get something in their messenger. In their messenger is when they get another quick little follow-up. Hey, here's the information on the property requested. Click on the link. Let me know if you have any questions. That being said, that link is where my VA has created a landing page through Flowdesk. So it's very quick. He does it, but he through Flowdesk now every single property I can go in there. I can see who's clicked on it. I can see who's given their information, and I know which property they're reaching out about, which definitely helps with my follow-up, which I've also automated to have somebody else, yes, reaching. It's Kingston, my son, actually. He's in our business now, so I've taught him how to respond to those leads properly. But when they get that message now and they click on the link, it opens up a page, a little website, and it has the pictures of the property. But I require that people give me their information, just like any other lead capturing source that you're typically paying for. But I require that they give me their information in order to get the property info. So of course, a lot of them go dead at that point. Cool, like save me my time, move it on to the next. And then from there, for the leads that I do get, that's where to that point, so if they've given me all their information, we have a specific process that I follow up with them on that side. If they've gone ghost, I've got another process because we continually reach out to those leads as well. And those were really key in putting in place, because if not, it was too much to manually keep reaching out. And then I knew I was losing people. So as for follow-ups and things that I'm sending them, I'll send them like, hey, I saw that you had looked at XYZ property. Here's a couple other additional ones that are similar. What are your thoughts on the price of these and how they look? So I always try to follow up with not like, hey, just seeing if you had real estate needs. I try to follow up with something like that's going to entice them. And then I always end it on a question, never just like, here you go, let me know your thoughts on it. I try to end on something that's going to prompt them to then respond to me. And then if they don't, I'll send them a voice message.
Now with a voice message, that's like voice match through like Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, so when you're in your messages, you'll see just like if you were on your text message or anywhere else, it's all the same, that little microphone. You just click it, and then I can send them a voice message from there.
Yep, awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. Facebook, it shows what I know.
I,
It's
I
not,
know Facebook's like old school to most people, anyways. But it's tried and true. It's worked amazing for me year after year. So
well, yeah. And if you look at it, I mean, Facebook is now surpassed LinkedIn for where the affluent are at. Like if you go to our kids, because our kids are roughly the same age, they'll be like, oh, Facebook's for old people. I'm like, dude, the average age of a home buyer right now is 58.
I say the
Yeah,
people
right.
with
Like,
money. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Right. So, yeah. And then like, okay, so how much time does this take? Because this is a lot, but you've automated it at such a high level. Like, I mean, is this 30 minutes a day for you, hour a day? Like, what is kind of time allocation for you personally with the way that you've set this up?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you like a three-parter to that. For me, my only time involved is when they're ready to get out and when they're ready to start the process. So like my time kicks in when they're a viable lead, ready to move forward. The person right before me, which is my son now, who I have kind of involved in all this helping, he's the one who I would say he spends, yeah, a good 30 to 45 minutes, 5 days a week, just sending follow-up messages to revive people who haven't responded to anything. Sometimes he'll tell me like, you've already sent them this many messages, they haven't said anything, are you sure you want to send another? And I'm like, yes son, this is the name of the game. Like the more we send, the closer we are getting. So I have him do that part, and then my VA is really the one who has the most amount of time involved, and I would say he's a good like 4 to 5 hours a week at most, and that's facilitating the entire group. I really don't do anything in this group anymore whatsoever. Like I get in there and monitor it, but I jump in when these leads need to be worked, and that's honestly where I had to get to a place in doing that because I was taking up time, which is just as important to me, more important than money, right? I really want to protect that. And then it was getting to a place that I was 1,000% losing leads. Like I would go in and see all the people that I hadn't even spoken to, and it killed me. So I'm like, okay, we got to put some things in place here. So between all of us, even doing all this, hands down, it's been my most lucrative and time saving lead gen source that I've ever seen, ever had.
Yeah, so because I'm sitting there thinking of like anybody that's watching or listening to this that maybe is, a solo agent, solopreneur, doesn't have staff yet. So let's just say they got 2 hours a day, because that sounds like what it allocates out to being per, all three of you combined. It's like, okay, 3 hours a day. And yeah, it takes time to build up. But it's like with your average price point, I mean, 50, 60 grand a month for a couple hours a day, like I'll take that deal all day long.
It's a no. I wish I would have done it sooner, for sure. It's a total no brainer. It's almost like wrong how easy it is to run this group.
Now, with that being said, it's like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, the story about stopping 3 feet short of gold. And this is where I think so many people go wrong in this industry is that, oh, I tried this for 6 weeks. I tried this for 90 days. Like you mentioned, 3,000 people. How long did that, well, I mean, was it a year? Was it 18 months? Like, how long? Like, if somebody's going to sign up for this game, now, obviously, if they're learning the strategies from you, they're able to do it quicker. But like, how long do they need to commit to this before they should start to have any expectations for results?
Yeah, definitely. So if I would have come with a more structured mindset of like what I was gonna do with this and how I was gonna grow it and what I wanted to do with the group, I definitely think it could have gone a lot quicker. But I was right about it a 2 year mark before I got to those members and before I started seeing a return in it. But I was very loose with this group at first. It was just kind of like doing its own thing, and I was having my VA run it. And then when I started seeing a little more coming out of it, that's when I got more intentional to build it. And it took me about 2 years to get to those 3,000 members. In another year and a half, I'm at just over 10,000 members. So being intentional with it definitely made a big difference. But I've had this group for maybe 3.5 years, if that. I've been in this house for less than 5 years, so I know it's well under that. I haven't had it that long for like the return that it provides. And to your exact point, I think that's one of the biggest things for agents is you see all these shiny things or you see people talking about their end game. That is not how things start. And there's a period of just having to hit it running with zero return, knowing like this is going to be something, just do what they're telling me to do. And I just got to stick with this and it will turn into something. But it's definitely like it's one of the lead sources at this point I teach to our agents because it works very well.
Yeah, love it. So then, all right, so switching gears, you recently made a move at the beginning of this year to shut down your brokerage and make the move to EXP. And for most looking at, because like you guys have built a brokerage very fast, right? I think if I remember correctly, like you guys were top one or two in the country with the franchise that you're with as far as growth for that year. I mean, you went from like 0 to 50 agents in a very quick period of time and continue to grow it. So a lot of people are probably shocked that, hey, like you guys are blowing it up. Like, why would you, so I'm just curious, having the success that you had with a team and owning a, very successful brokerage, like what ultimately led to you making the decision to make this move to EXP?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite questions when people ask because I've just got so many reasons why it was such a good decision to make the switch. So we say like we were on that path, growing our team. It just kind of seemed like the next natural step. So we got into running a brokerage. It was producing, it was going well, but it's just night and day from what you expect it to be, if you will, because you're wearing every hat under the sun and there's no way around it. You're either the one doing it or you're spending a lot of money to have other people do those things, which I feel like my husband and I went into this together. We knew we were gonna have to, it's gonna cost us some money, it's gonna take some time, like we're gonna have to build this up from the ground. But even after you build it up, you have so many jobs. You have to, okay, so now you've hired this person to do this thing, so you don't have the task anymore, but now you've got to make sure they're doing it right. And then when they have a problem, guess who they're still coming to? Literally the only person above us was an attorney. So we are the go-to for everybody for everything. So it just gets to a point where you're wasting so much time on non-money making activities because even like for compensation, for example, there's all for especially when you have a lot of people with you, there's always a little something that's off or somebody messed something up and there's a detail that needs to be added here. What it's all these little things that you're now having to go take your time and figure out because nobody else is going to do it. And then again, you're having to pay a good six-figure salary to another broker to help and step in. So there were just a lot of jobs we found ourselves doing that we were like, this is so unenjoyable and not at all what we had built. And it was 1,000%. All it did was take from my own personal production and take from me being able to train our agents at a much higher level and really be there for them to grow their business because I'm making sure every box on their contract is checked properly so I don't end up in a lawsuit. Like it was just not at all enjoyable. So through you, we ended up getting this opportunity to join through EXP. And I think like a lot of us, and like I know you have said, had this like ick factor towards EXP and that it was like a joke and that people who talked about it were like drinking the Kool-Aid and I didn't want any part of it whatsoever. When you really get to the finite information, the math is the math. So if you run a business and you're trying to grow something, I truly, wholeheartedly believe I don't know what other better vessel there is. And we've done it and we've looked at different things and we've been in this business for a long time. I opened my own brokerage. Like we've done the things, we've researched everything. So I don't just say that lightheartedly. There is no other place where you get such a high caliber of resources and you can really focus on what matters and grow your business. And you're not just growing your business to be an agent who's burning and turning deals. You are putting in foundational bricks that are going to allow you to step out of production and have income, which is to unheard of. Brokerages don't, unless you are with the proper company or team that tells you, like, hey, make sure you put this in place, make sure you run your business this way, or else you're going to be in this business till you die if you want to make money. This is so different because it sets things up for you to be a true business owner without the overhead and without the stress. So after we really gave it an opportunity and looked at everything and kind of saw what it would do for us as opposed to all of these jobs we had given ourselves, it honestly was a no-brainer. Like I told my husband, I couldn't tell him any faster, cut the check and get this brokerage closed immediately and let's get over here. And with that being said, a lot of people can promise things and then you get over there, it's always a little different. It's maybe not what you expected. holy shit. The resources, the people, everything that it's taken off my plate has allowed us to grow so much more. And all I do now is I'm with my family, I'm working on my own production, or I'm pouring into our agents. So it's just been such a game changer for myself, but honestly, our whole organization to really, like, we've got agents on the team less than 30 days closing deals. So a lot of it's, allowed us to be way more hands on with them. So as a business owner and as a team lead and as a solo agent, it checked every box and then some.
Yeah, because you guys had the brokerage what for about 2 years. So in 7 months, you've been able to 3x your agent count growth versus what it took you so but in that I'm guessing is time allocation, and it's such a easier model to recruit to because they do offer so much. The thing, I wonder if this is a struggle for you because most conversations I have with brokerage owners, because unless you're big, like unless you go 5+ hundred agents, it's very, very difficult to make really good money in a brokerage. Um, and that's if you're stacking in title, insurance, mortgage, JVs, you're being very strategic with it. And, but so much of it is ego. And I get it. It's like the first 5 years of me having awareness of EXP, I just didn't get it. I thought it was the Amway real estate, thought it was a joke. The last 5 years, I knew it was legit, but my ego, I was like, oh, I'm not going to, I'm going to build my own thing. I'm not going to, was that, so I guess where I'm going with this is that's where I see it. The hardest part for brokerage owners to make the move is kind of, it's more of an emotional ego decision. Did you go through that at all?
Yeah, so and this is a question too that I've got from other broker owners who own small brokerages. Like, how could you just like close it? Like, don't you feel some kind of way? Or like people are gonna be like, oh, you failed at it. I have zero emotions towards like other people's thoughts about what I'm doing, which I even my husband Armando is definitely like he's a man, like the ego of it to like it doesn't like feel like a failure in a sense, but like that's the outward appearance in some of the sense of it, right? Like I closed my company to go with another company. So I definitely understand that. And I have friends personally who own their own brokerages who are like still in it for that same factor. Like they won't give up the release of like not being the person who owns their own brokerage anymore. So I 1,000% get it. But I was so damn tired of doing everything all the time or pouring money into it and like running in place, if you will. Like they were growing, but we weren't 3xing in half the time, if you will. So it was just very different. So I didn't, and I think it's rare because I said even my husband I think was definitely like, oh God, like the feelings of doing it. But I was so at a point, like I knew what EXP would offer to us. I knew how it could really plug every hole in the ship that we were in and really help us get to that destination faster. And I could not get rid of this brokerage fast enough. So I think that's a very big thing for people. I think the ego and like the feelings of like, oh shit, am I going to close this down? But I wasn't taking a step back. Like it's like a slingshot effect. Like maybe I went back a little bit, but it was to just accelerate forward. And what I tell people, like the way I present it, if you will, is like I shut down my boutique brokerage to partner with a juggernaut. Like we got a good opportunity and I took that opportunity. And that's more so like the way I see it and have gone about it.
Yeah, there's a saying out there that ego stifles more success than all else, and yeah, I mean, I see so many people, and again, I went through this too, where, you know, because that ego, like you suffer way more, right, to appease the ego, but like you're miserable, right? It's a weird thing. So, all right. So for anybody that's watching and listening to Malika, because if they partner with you at EXP, because and this is one of the things I love about this model is it's the truly everyone wins model that I've ever seen out there. It's like, okay, they can, partner with you, get all of your amazing mentorship, all of your universities, walking through all the things that we talked about today, how to build a virtual, showing agent model. They get all your coaching, mentorship support, but at the same time, they get my coaching, support. They get Mike Sherrard's, coaching support. He's the best in the world at, AI and social media, where it's not, you're not just getting one, you're getting a group of people that have a vested interest in your success, plus all the amazing things EXP provides. So if anybody is interested in learning more and having a conversation with you about partnering with you at EXP or partnering with us at EXP, like where's the best place to do that at?
Yeah, so you let me know where we should leave this at, but I have a Calendly link that would definitely be the best way. And then they can schedule something, reach out. We'd love to let you know how we help our agents. We're very hands-on. As you mentioned, Josh, we have such high level resources between you and Mike. So Armando and I really try to come in and, be the ones more boots on the ground, if you will, to help the agents as they're really growing their business, or how to lead gen, how to get more clients, but also how to have an enjoyable lifestyle while doing it. If you want, honestly, we can leave our business line as well. But the easiest way is definitely that Calendly link. You can just get in there, book a discovery call, and we'd love to let you know, what we offer and how we can help.
Yeah, anybody that's watching this, if you just scroll below, whether it's the show notes or the description, I'm gonna have all Nalika's social media links, their Calendly link, all that information below, for that. All right, so one last question for you. Now that you've made this move to EXP, yeah, I'm sure vision's changed a little bit from, the brokerage to like, what's the in-game vision? Like, I mean, you've been at this, it's been an amazing decade. You've created so much success in this, this first decade. Like, where do you see the next decade going?
Next decade, so a couple different things here. So I initially built this to have like the freedom in it, if you will, which I know I talk about a lot, but especially with kids and them getting older, like it's become more important to us. And I think even like the culture itself, from like that hustle, like grind 24/7, I think the lifestyle is also more so what people are like. You don't want to work to live, right? You want to have some lifestyle ease in this as well. So that to me is the biggest thing that we've grown or been able to really get in being with EXP. So more so than ever, rather than kind of burning and turning my own deals consistently, I am definitely gonna step out of production, which I keep saying, but I'm really gonna commit to it this time. So in the next year, maybe 2 years, because I don't mind production. Like, it's genuinely very easy. So I don't mind staying in it. Like, I like what it provides. It helps me teach the agents hands-on as well. For the next 1 or 2 years, I'll definitely stay in production. But outside of that, our ultimate goal is definitely building this downline, helping agents build their own lifestyle, build their own teams. So we want to bring people on that are going to be able to not just be a solo agent, if you will, which I love, game time, but also teach people how to grow something that's gonna work for their family and not be like a business that when you stop, it stops, right? So I think that's really our ultimate goal, is to just be able to get in front of more people, help more agents grow their business, but ultimately step out on this end of it. Size wise, I mean, I know you've got a massive goal over there, but if we could even get to a couple hundred agents, I'll be so good with that. And then lead gen, I think I'll just lead gen forever. I think I've got such a good system set up that that's really a part that I'll either pass out to somebody else or just systematize and fully take myself out of, and then just be passing those on to agents so we can just kind of keep that wheel moving. But I'll definitely start stepping out and being just more of the one facilitating things as my ultimate goal, to really fully get out of the transactional space.
Yep, love it. Such powerful stuff. And for those watching, listen, we truly appreciate your time. Truly appreciate you guys being here again. Below are going to be all the links to Nalika's social media, to book a call with Nalika with that Calendly link, as well as if you're watching or listening to this before September 9th for her workshop masterclass, step by step on how to build and crush it with these Facebook groups. And Nalika, truly appreciate your time, taking time out of your busy to be here. This has been amazing, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, 100%. All right, you guys, we will see you next time. Peace.